This show is about remembering colors and remembering textures and shapes. The term anamnetic comes from the ancient Greek word that Plato used to describe recollection and remembrance. But it was recollection and remembrance of a previous knowledge, a previous time that had been hitherto forgotten about and then remembered. So in this sense, in this work, I wanted to bring out textures and colors that reminded people of old toys, old rooms, old spaces, happy places, unhappy places from their own past to draw in. So it's a hidden, pre-programmed sort of knowledge that people have that you can trigger with the different colors. It's almost like smell. You can trigger that smell to come back. So it's kind of an interesting idea in that sense. It kind of interested me to bring that forward in utilizing some of the different colors that I have in this work. There's something about it that's subjective. Somebody came in earlier to the show and said, you know, I had that color in my kitchen as a kid, and I haven't seen it in that many years. And that's something that really interests me, the way it triggers people's sense of self and subjective sense of their own reality and their own past and their own history, and bringing it forward onto the surface is something that really interests me, and it has for a long time. And I try to work through that thematically through my various shows, my various works. This one I think comes the closest to it. I tried to do that in my previous show, which we discussed before. It had a similar theme. It's just this one I think is a little more impactful in the sense that I've used old sheet music in some of the squares. I've tried to make this, instead of random sized or shaped pieces, make them all the same, so it functions as a pixel. And in that sense, I'm interested in the digitizing kind of pixel matrix system of memory, and maybe even of reality itself. That's kind of trying to bring that forward with these works. So it's kind of a fun notion to play with. So that pretty much encapsulates what I was after there. So the materials that I use in this work, a lot of them are reclaimed or found pieces that I shaped down to the size that I require to give it that square pixel look, and to make them all the same size. And on this piece with the little wood squares, the faux wood squares, I was driving down the road and saw that somebody had discarded an old stereo cabinet, and they'd thrown this piece away, and I looked at it and had that wood, that phony plastic wood overlay, and I thought, man, you know, that would be really an interesting texture to put in, or a kind of shape. So I went back and I turned around and drove back and picked up one of the shelves off this discarded, broken cabinet that somebody had just thrown away, and cut it up and put it in the piece, and it worked really successfully. I kind of like it because it does trigger that memory sort of response that you could easily get triggered by. Instead of just the color, it's the texture, it's the wood, it's further sort of what am I trying to go for? It's another memory thing of maybe as a childhood, your parents went and bought like a stereo cabinet, and they want the pretense of wood, of a teak or of a mahogany. It's got that world of ownership of furniture and something that's valuable, but it's not. It's just a plastic overlay. So it's kind of a fun thing to get that in there too.